the summer of 1969, two Central American nations, El Salvador and Honduras, went to war over a seemingly unlikely catalyst, a football match. The conflict would last only 4 days, but its impact would be felt for decades to come. On June 26, 1969, El Salvador and Honduras faced off in a World Cup qualifier in Tegucigalpa, Honduras. The match was a highly anticipated event, with tensions already running high between the two nations. El Salvador won the game 1-0, but the real conflict began after the final whistle. Honduran fans attacked El Salvadoran players and fans, sparking a wave of violence that would spread beyond the stadium. The incident ignited long-simmering tensions between the two nations, fueled by issues like border disputes, economic inequality, and immigration. For years, Honduras had been a haven for Salvadoran immigrants seeking better economic opportunities, but tensions had been building as Hondurans grew resentful of the influx. The football match became a symbol of national pride and identity, with each side seeing the other as a threat to their sovereignty. Political leaders on both sides used the incident to whip up nationalist sentiment, and the situation quickly escalated. In the days following the match, violence erupted across both nations. El Salvadoran immigrants in Honduras faced brutal reprisals, with reports of homes being burned and families being forced to flee. The governments of both countries exchanged harsh rhetoric, and the possibility of war loomed larger with each passing day. On July 14, 1969, El Salvador launched a military invasion of Honduras, sparking a 4-day war that would leave thousands dead and displaced. The Salvadoran military, better equipped and more organized, initially made significant advances into Honduran territory. However, the conflict quickly became bogged down in fierce fighting. Honduras, though caught off guard, mounted a staunch defense. The fighting was brutal and indiscriminate, with significant civilian casualties on both sides. The international community watched in shock as the violence escalated, fearing the conflict could destabilize the entire region. The conflict ended with a ceasefire brokered by the Organization of American States, OAS, on July 18, 1969. The ceasefire mandated a withdrawal of Salvadoran troops from Honduran territory and called for peace negotiations. Despite the cessation of hostilities, the underlying issues that had sparked the conflict remained unresolved. The football war, as it came to be known, highlighted the deep-seated tensions between El Salvador and Honduras. It also underscored the power of sports to both unite and divide nations. The immediate aftermath of the war saw a significant displacement of populations, with many Salvadoran immigrants in Honduras returning to their home country amid fears of further violence. The war left deep scars on both nations. In El Salvador, the brief but intense conflict exacerbated existing social and economic issues, setting the stage for a devastating civil war in the 1980s. The Salvadoran Civil War would last over a decade, causing further loss of life and displacement. Honduras, on the other hand, faced political instability and economic stagnation. The destruction wrought by the war, coupled with a lack of effective governance, hampered the nation's development for years to come. Both countries struggled to recover and rebuild in the wake of the conflict. Despite the devastation, both nations have made significant strides towards reconciliation in recent years. In 2010, El Salvador and Honduras signed a treaty resolving their border dispute, a major step towards healing the rift that the football war had exacerbated. The treaty marked the culmination of years of negotiations and confidence-building measures between the two governments. Since then, El Salvador and Honduras have collaborated on various economic and infrastructure projects. These initiatives aim to improve the standard of living in both countries and foster greater economic integration. Joint efforts in areas such as trade, transportation, and environmental protection are paving the way for a more cooperative future. The football match that sparked the war has become a symbol of the power of sports to bring people together. In recent years, friendly matches between the two nations' teams have served as a powerful symbol of their renewed friendship. These events emphasize sportsmanship and mutual respect, highlighting how far both nations have come since the dark days of 1969. The legacy of the football war extends beyond politics and economics. It has also had a profound impact on the cultural and social ties between the two nations. Cultural exchanges, joint community projects, and educational programs have helped to bridge the gap between El Salvador and Honduras. These initiatives foster mutual understanding and respect, showcasing the shared heritage and values that unite the two countries. Conclusion: the football war serves as a reminder that even the most unlikely of events can have far-reaching consequences. It also highlights the importance of addressing historical grievances and working towards reconciliation, rather than letting tensions simmer and boil over into conflict. Today, El Salvador and Honduras continue to work towards reconciliation and economic cooperation, a testament to the enduring legacy of a conflict born on the pitch. In the years following the conflict, both nations struggled to rebuild and recover. However, their recent efforts towards reconciliation and cooperation demonstrate that even the deepest wounds can heal with time and effort. The story of the football war and the peace that has followed is a powerful testament to the resilience and spirit of both nations. Looking ahead, the future holds promise for continued collaboration and friendship between El Salvador and Honduras. Both countries are investing in their youth, who represent a new generation free from the animosities of the past. Educational and cultural initiatives are focusing on teaching the values of peace, cooperation, and mutual respect. The path to lasting peace and prosperity is a long one, but with continued effort and commitment from both sides, the legacy of the football war can be one of reconciliation and hope for a brighter future. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more fascinating historical stories.